Hello and welcome to the first ever episode of our new segment, On the Trail. I'm your host, Daniel Fava, and I'm excited about this new segment that we're doing here, or that I'm doing, I should say. So On the Trail is really meant to be really short, meaty, to the point tips and information that you could apply on your marketing journey. And so these little episodes are really meant to answer specific questions that I know our audience may have, or specific questions or things that, I see just kind of consistently through our work with our many clients and my conversations with many potential clients. And so the goal for these episodes is to have them come out most likely bi-weekly between our longer form episodes that are more where our interviews are, or where I might do a deep teaching solo episode in those, in those different episodes. So I hope that you enjoy these. And if you have a specific question you want to hear me answered on this podcast, you can go to our website, and under the podcast drop down in our menu, there is a link there to ask a question where you can fill out a form, and I'd be happy to answer it on this new segment. So thank you so much for listening in. And so let's take it away with our first episode. So let's get into episode number 1 here. And so the specific question that I want to answer is one that just keeps coming up, and it keeps coming up. It has been for maybe the last 6 months or so. And that is everyone getting less website traffic, or is it just me? I have a lot of conversations with potential clients, when they're trying to figure out who to work with or what needs to be done in order to, increase leads, increase traffic, reach more clients. And I'm hearing the same story over and over. And it goes something like this. It's like, I had a website, but I didn't really need to do anything with it. I just had, a lot of word of mouth referrals would come in, or people would just find me online. But then sometime over the summer 2025, that has just started dwindling. It has dried up. I'm not seeing a lot of traffic. I'm not getting a lot of new leads from my website. And so that's really kind of the scenario that we're seeing time and time again. So I know a lot of folks listening are probably wondering the same thing. Is it just me, or has my website traffic and inquiries really just kind of dropped off a cliff? And are other people experiencing this? What's going on behind the scenes? Is this just sort of a landscape shift? So I will say, let's see, where should we start with this? It is a landscape shift. I guess that's it. Spoiler alert right there, just straight to the point. We are seeing just really massive shifts in how websites are being found, how they're being indexed by Google, and then now AI. So things are changing. Things are changing a lot. How we optimize websites, even at PPE and the work that we do, has really changed a lot, because we have to be much more tuned in, honed in on the ideal clients that we want our clients' websites to reach. Reason being is that Google's algorithm has really prioritized more and more. It's always been this way, but more and more they're digging into helpful, original, and authoritative content. And AI generated content has completely flooded the web. And so Google has gotten much stricter on these signals of quality on the website. And so that means if you had a ton of content on your website, and you had, a blog post for this keyword and this keyword and this keyword, and it's just kind of like information, well, the internet has plenty of information, but does that information actually show that you are a trustworthy expert in what you do in mental health, in the services that you provide? And also, we need to make sure that people locally can find you, especially in saturated markets. And so things have really just shifted. It's now a quality over quantity game, and really honing in on making sure that Google and AI is recommending great services for people who are, having challenges with mental health. That's a really important category in the world of Google search. And so there are stricter, stricter, contingencies here to make sure that Google is giving the right information to somebody who's looking for help with these services and with these challenges. So like I said, it's a quality over quantity thing. And people are now using ChatGPT, obviously, other AI tools to ask questions instead of just going to Google. And Google's AI snapshots, or search generative experience is what they call it. They're pulling answers right into those result pages. So it's not so much as, oh, I ranked this number for this keyword and this number for keyword, but really the goal is how do you get cited in those little snippets there? And so that is a big challenge. And so if you are kind of appearing further down, now you're like even further down because you're not being shown in those AI snippets. And that's really where our focus goes in when we're doing these searches. And so that is the shift in the landscape, is if your website doesn't demonstrate that quality that you have, experience, expertise, authoritativeness, and trustworthiness, if you don't demonstrate that on your website, then you're going to get lost in the results. You're not going to get pulled into those AI snippets. So even well-optimized therapy websites are seeing these fluctuations. It's not just because you maybe have done SEO in the past that you're not seeing these changes. We've actually had to re-optimize some clients' websites because they've almost over-optimized work in the past and put out so much content and so much information. Now we need to kind of cull it down and maybe combine blog posts together and, make them more, make it, what's the word I'm looking for? Just make it more human-like, have that human touch to it, not just information, but really, connecting with people and answering questions. So less organic traffic doesn't always mean fewer clients. It does mean we need to be more strategic. So, if you see a drop in traffic, especially after you start doing work on SEO, that's actually not a bad thing, because it might just mean that all of the people who are wrong for your business are not finding you, but all the people who are right are finding you. And now you're honing in, exactly who you want to find. So, if you're in that place and you're like, oh yeah, I am seeing less traffic, less leads, less clients, what can you do? So we'll wrap this up with just three little tips here. Number one, get real data, get real information. So get an SEO assessment done, whether that's with PPE, if you want us to look into it, or with another company, that's totally fine. But you need to know things like, do you have any technical issues that are causing your website to load slowly, or broken links, poor mobile experience? Because Google's going to look at that user experience and say, oh, that's not good. I'm not going to send people there. The website loads slowly. Do some on-page optimization, make sure that your keywords are still relevant. Make sure you've got titles and meta descriptions and those key pieces in the right place. And then make sure your local SEO visibility is really set up, making sure that you are making mention on your website where you're located, who you serve, stuff like that. So number one, get an assessment, get real data, because the only way to get where you want to go is to know where you're at right now. And you could check out our website if you're interested in our SEO assessments. Number two is update or create one piece of high intent content. Choose one service that you have and make sure, ask yourself, does my website have a page that clearly explains what the service is, who it helps, and how someone can get started? And is that page optimized for local search terms such as EMDR therapy in Denver? So focus on creating one solid, helpful page rather than, trying a whole bunch of blog posts here and there. Number three, claim and optimize your Google business profile. So Google is still the number one way that most people find a therapist. So make sure your Google business profile is set up, verified, has current photos, hours, contact information, all the information that a client would need, includes detailed services, and those are keywords there, and has recent reviews from happy clients. And know that one's hard. Little tip: you could reach out to colleagues to review your business. I know that has worked well for my wife. And then sometimes if clients have a good experience, you can't solicit this, but they might go onto your Google profile and write a review, and that certainly is helpful. So those are three tips there. So like I said, it's not just you. There's a change in the landscape, and so that might result in less traffic and less inquiries. But now that we know that Google is really honing in on quality, showcasing your experience, your trustworthiness, all that good stuff, now we can just make that shift and give Google what they want, and ultimately what your clients want, which is helpful information. So I hope that this On the Trail episode, the first one ever, has been helpful to you. I appreciate it. And if we can help you with your online marketing, please go to privatepracticeelevation.com/kickoff to schedule a free 15-minute call. And I would love to connect with you, find out what we can do to help. Thanks so much. Daniel Flava signing off.